to This Week in Baseball Player Profiles, as we profile Brady Hoover from 316 and Creighton Hoover from Gray's Academy. We were supposed to do Reed Liston from Derby, but he could not make it today due to the weather, so I appreciate you two coming in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
So, both of you have the same last name. Are you two related by any chance?
No. That's the most common question for me, and we're not related. We are not.
Okay.
No way, shape, or form.
No way, shape, or form.
So I've known Creighton, I'm 24. I've known him probably since I was 14, and I get asked probably on average twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Brady, you're the director at 316. Now that 316 and Sluggers merged together, became one real big academy. A lot of pressures on your shoulders being the director. How's that going for you so far?
I love it. I can honestly say it's a dream job for me. Working in baseball, I mean, that's the only thing I've ever really known. So when Matt Brady gave me the opportunity, I took it without question. And we got a lot. We have, I think, 42 baseball teams altogether. So, I mean, it's not like I'm just a coach of one team. I mean, I look over everything, but I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I love it.
And Creighton, since you came back, I know your dad had been running the Gray's Academy for many years. He's been around in Wichita. He's kind of handed the reins over to you a little bit. How's that going for you?
Yeah, he still runs it. I help it, right? So, but I mean, the biggest thing I do for us, I think, is I kind of bring just a younger attitude, and I do coach our 18-year-old team, so that takes up a lot of time. And but I love coaching with him and coaching for him, really. And honestly, it's just been a great learning opportunity for me, and I can take it into whatever I do coaching-wise from here on out. And yeah, same. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Well, I want you guys to know this, and I mean this. I think you two are two of the better coaches in the area already, and with your age and everything, you're going to bring a lot to these kids in this area from all ages. I really mean that. I've seen a lot in you guys in the last couple of years. So both of you played college ball. Different experiences, okay? Creighton, how was your experience in college?
So, I mean, I think about it every day. I still have some of my best friends are my college teammates. I'm getting married, and my fiance's gonna kill me in the summer sometime next year. But some of my groomsmen are my college teammates who I've known for, less than 10 years, obviously. But yeah, it was great. I went to junior college out of high school. I was 130-pound, scrawny shortstop who didn't run all that well, couldn't hit all that well, could kick it a little bit. Transitioned into a pitcher when I transferred to Pratt Community College, and from there went to Grambling State and was throwing the ball sidearm there for them for 2 years until I graduated. And it was great, man. It taught me a ton of things, a lot of soft skills that, and by soft skills I mean communication and things like that I take into my job now. And it's really just, I think it's one of the best things that a kid can do if that's what he wants to do, is go be a part of a team and try to have a bigger goal than himself.
Right.
And I love it.
Yeah. And Brady, how about your experience?
Same. I was a junior college guy as well. I went to Hutch for 3 years there, and then I went to Washburn and finished up there. And as he said, like you make your best friends in college, and I still have a bunch of friends that I grew up playing ball with before college. But once you get there, you're day in, day out. I mean, you wake up, you literally eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner with those guys. You go through some of the toughest days ever. You go to class with them. You travel. You're on bus trips. I mean, the experience is nothing that you can really describe until somebody does it. So like you just said, like if you get the opportunity to play, it doesn't matter where, junior college, NAIA, Division II, Division I, take that opportunity because you're going to walk away with some of the best people, coaches, families, just the athletic community. I mean, I'm good friends with football players at Washington now. It's just being a part of an athletic program in college it's a special thing. It really is. So like you said, some of my best friends I still talk to all the time. I just had a buddy from junior college that I lived with drive up from Texas. He was on his way to Lincoln. I waited up for him until 3 a.m. so he could sleep for 3 hours, and turned around the next day and had an all-day baseball thing, and I would do it again for him. I mean, it's just,
It's like a brotherhood.
It is. You would do anything for those guys, and I've been in a couple weddings from college kids, and it's an amazing experience.
So if you had any advice to give to our 21 class, 22 class, kids getting ready to move on, what advice would you give to them?
I always tell us that when you grow up, coaches always tell you, like, one day you're not going to be able to put the cleats on. It's going to hurt. It's going to feel different. And you can't imagine what that means until you actually go through it. He just said he thinks about college every day. I think about going back, and junior college is some of the toughest days ever, and I'd go back and do it again. So take every experience, and take every time you're on the field or at practice, just serious, embrace it, and have fun with it, because one day you can't go back. And Creighton and I are lucky enough to coach, but it's just, I could say the same thing for him because I know how he was and how he is. We would do anything to please him.
Right.
So just
Love
don't,
the game.
Yeah, just don't take it for granted, because it'll go, and there's going to be a day, whether you're 40 or whether you're 18, just don't take it for anything.
Creighton, you got any advice?
Just be the guy who's willing to adapt, and don't be stuck on, well, I was a shortstop in my high school, so I got to be a short. No, go where it fits you to go to the best place that fits you, and just be adaptable. Just be a guy who's willing to say, okay, this is what we need to do to win games. I'm willing to do that, and that's the biggest thing.
Okay. I think I know your guys' answer to this question. Who's your mentor? Who do you look up to for coaching? If you had to choose somebody.
Well, I look up to my dad, and that's the low-hanging fruit answer. Obviously, he's been my coach my whole life, and that's really where I've derived most of the things that I do coaching-wise from him. While we might have different styles or we say different things, it's generally built on the same foundation of the knowledge of the game and just the willingness to put in an amount of work that's needed for success. And so I take that from him, and then I've taken stuff from every coach that I've played for. Whether it's good things or bad things, I learned how not to do things, learned how to do things. I take things from coaches that I see on Twitter or on anywhere. I just pull things from anywhere, but the biggest one probably, my dad.
Okay. Brady?
I've got a whole list of them, for sure. I've got an older brother, Curtis. I grew up watching him play, and that's kind of how I fell in love with the game. I was always following his hip around, asking questions, following his friends, probably annoying them, but that's kind of how I fell in love with the game. My dad as well. My dad never coached me, but he did something that a lot of other parents should probably do. My dad introduced me to the game of baseball and backed off and let me fall in love with it. He never was my coach. The only thing he would ever get on to me about is if I disrespected the game of baseball. He knew, obviously I knew if I had a bad game. He knew if I knew how I had a bad game, and that was so great for me because he let me grow, he let me fall in love with it. And that means a lot to me. And we have some memories that I wish I could go back and do it again. Just the road trips and stuff, me and him went through a lot. But yeah, my brother was kind of a coach by just me watching him. He played at Hutch as well. And then there's guys like Ryan Schmidt up at Hutch. Coach Schmidt did a lot for me. Turned me into a leader for sure. Jamal Cervantes, who we work with as well, he did a lot of great things for me. Harvey Douglas up at Washburn, just coaches in general. Rocky Helm, I got the chance to play for Rocky Helm, and then of course Matt Brady. So I work under Matt in the organization now, and that guy, ever since he took over my team when I was 14 years old, he pushed me not only on the field, but he really understands how to coach you to a level to prepare yourself for the real world. So Matt Brady means a lot to me. But yeah, pretty much any coach that I've ever played for is a role model to me in one way or another.
So with that being said, it sounds like both of you have different experiences, but had a lot of good coaching growing up. So anything you do now when you coach, do you try to do some of the same similar stuff, or you try to change the method up? Do you have your own philosophy?
I think I pick and choose. Because like he said, you hear some things that not every coach that you're going to agree with, and you did some things when you're younger, so you can kind of pick and choose. But no, for sure, I don't think there's any really any of my original methods, I guess you could say. But one thing I do is turn their method into my own words, layer out myself so I can teach it the way that I feel comfortable doing. So I pick and choose, but mostly everything's stuff that I've learned from my past coaches.
Right. What about you?
Yeah, same thing. I just take, there's basically everything you can implement at this point. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel doing anything, but I'm going to take a throwing program from here and put it and make it fit into our time constraints and our days that we can do it. And I'm going to take, weightlifting stuff, whatever I took from wherever I played and coaches that I look up to, and just kind of take it, put my own spin on it, and make it mine. Because I'm going to use something. If I use something more than 3 times, it becomes mine. I stop giving credit for it.
Right.
So, I say a lot of things that I've heard my coaches say forever. Like I played for Mike Warren, who was the coach at Barton Community College my first year there, and I take a lot of things that he said, did, and my dad played for him too, so it's kind of up that same tree. But I take a lot of things and I use them as my own. I'm going to run out of breath if I say, hey, my first year in college, I learned this from. So,
Right.
Eventually it just becomes your own. You put your own spin on it. So, yeah, I just try to put my stamp on it.
So would both of you say that you still are eager to learn more? Like you try to learn from people that you see still?
Yeah, no doubt. The game of baseball, you can learn something new, and I do learn something new every single time I step into a facility. I mean, a lot of coaches teach the same thing. There's just a different route to get there.
Different
and
way of
that's the
saying
coolest
it.
way of saying it, because you never want to coach 2 kids the same way.
Right.
So you got to figure out how they learn, I guess. And so there's always a different way to wrap around to get to the same point. And so once you figure that out, coaching, it's an incredible feedback. It really is.
Right. So Creighton, what is your one goal that you have for each of your players?
So, one goal, it's kind of an umbrella
Maybe like
goal.
a team by,
and it's always to, because I've never even, we haven't been coaching for very long because we're not that old, but I haven't coached a big leaguer yet. I haven't coached a kid who's got drafted or did anything like that. But I have coached kids that are now fathers, or some are now even a husband, or they have a job or whatever. I want to make them the best human being possible by the time they leave us. Whether that be, they become a professional baseball player, or they're a dad, or they're a husband, or whatever. They're going to be the best person I can possibly make them through the game of baseball. And that's really kind of our goal overall.
Brady, you probably have the similar goal.
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. When Creighton and I were growing up, we grew up in the same era and played against each other a little bit. He's a couple years older than I am, but those coaches did the same thing for us, I guess. We fell in love with the game because the people that were ahead of us. And so if I can be that person for the future, that's what it is. That's what it is for me.
Role models.
Role models, yeah. We don't do coaching for the money, people say that. So if I had a goal, it's like you just said, make them a better person, make them a better student, like academically, because college is going to be different for them, and high school is going to be different. Just realize that baseball can teach you so many life lessons, and if I can make them better physically on the baseball field, but just create them as better people, I think that should be every coach's goal.
Should be. That's a win.
Right.
So Brady, while you were at Hutch, you got a nickname, and I want to make sure I got it right. The ice cream scooper, is that correct? Am I right? Or
it's not. It wasn't a nickname. There was 2 people have called me this, and you're one of them. And then Denny Steckline, who ran our Hutch Blue Dragon sports page and had a son on the team with me, and he was always announcing our games. He gave me that nickname without permission. Like, I was done with the game and I checked Twitter, and apparently I was the ice cream man and the ice cream man.
And that all happened because you were playing first base or something?
Yeah, I was playing first base.
Do you remember what game it happened? Or
I took pride in first base because the older I got, the elbow went out, the ankle went out, so I had a glove on my left hand, so I said I might as well make something good. So I took pride in first base and helping out my infielders. So.
There you go. Boy. So Creighton, you did something really cool, I think, over COVID while people were sitting at home, bored to death. You created some kind of, I think some kind of like what you call prison workout. I mean, explain to me, how did that happen, and how much fun was that doing? Because I can tell you, I watched those videos and I loved them.
I mean, okay, so first now I can't delete them because there's really no going back on it. So once I put it out there, it's kind of out there. But it started out with me, really there was no gym open. There was nothing, and I knew if I sat at home, even though I'm a skinny guy anyway, I would leave there with a gut. So I thought, I need to do something, and I'm harping on our kids, hey, use this time, do this, and I see people complaining about this not being open, that not being open. So I had a 2x4 and some cinder blocks in my backyard with some duct tape, and I decided that I was gonna do some prison workouts, and I strapped it up and worked out, and you know what? I think I got some good out of it, and I think as long as I could provide somebody with a laugh, that was at the end of the day. By the end of it, that was my goal. To start out with, I thought I was going to be like 240, 6'4", 240 when I got done, but it didn't work out for me. But yeah, man, I just really ran out of cinder blocks. My deadlift got up to like 3 cinder blocks on each side, and so it was pretty wild.
Oh, they were good. They were really good. I'll tell you that. I was impressed.
It wasn't even just the workout. Some of the outfits in there.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
true. Some of the outfits
I
were
was
crazy.
really, at that point, I was really expressing myself, man. I was doing, I don't know what was going on. There was a lot of crop tops through there, headbands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some Jackie Moon going
Yeah,
on.
it got wild. It got weird for a second.
So Creighton, outside of baseball, what other hobbies do you have?
So,
you're getting married.
By the way, congratulations on that.
Thank you. Right now, my hobbies consist of working on our new house that we just closed on, and planning a wedding. But really, I think Brady can say the same thing. A ton of hobbies outside of baseball. I just don't have a crazy amount of time. I mean, I try to play golf every so often. I'll try to fish when I can, but I dedicate so much time to being able to be a coach as young as us. I'm a little bit older, but still as young as us, in a position that I'm in. I think I have to work so hard because so many guys have so many years on me. They've coached for 10 plus years, 15, 20 plus years. And so I spend a lot of time just developing as a coach. But, I think the quarantine and COVID, while it did hit, it was horrible for everybody, and it still is, but it gave me a lot of time to spend at home with my family, more time than I usually do. So I did develop a few other habits, like working on the house, which I would have never before this. I would have always had, weights to do, or we were hitting, or we were doing whatever. But yeah, I mean, scraping popcorn ceiling now is a hobby.
There you go. What about you? You got any hobbies?
Yeah, I'm a big family man. I've got nieces and nephews now. Both my siblings are older than me, so I just moved back to Wichita from Topeka not too long ago, so now I get the chance to go to my 6-year-old niece's soccer games, I guess, and so those are fun. My little nephew is going to be starting playing baseball here, and he loves the game already. I just love being around them. It was something that I never really got to do when I was in college, playing and traveling. But I love to hunt and fish as well. I'm a big waterfowl. Love shooting my bow. And even that's all with, a lot of it's with college buddies. So hunting, fishing, family. And then, like he said, we spend so much time with the game of baseball that even our hobbies are hanging out with other coaches and hanging out just around the game of baseball. I don't mind it because, like I said, I love the game, but even just watching sports in general, football, Royals, Chiefs, KU basketball, any sort of college basketball, just sports in general is really all my hobbies and sports.
That kind of leads me into my next question. Who's your favorite Major League Baseball team?
I'm a Kansas City guy. Like I said, Royals and Chiefs.
What do you got?
I'm a
You're a
big
Braves fan.
guy.
That's what I'm talking about.
So we'll be there for a while. It's easy to be a Braves fan right now. Well, tough this last week, but
Trust me, I was at Game 7, so I know.
The future's bright. Yeah, man. Love the Braves.
There you go.
Love
I can say the same thing about the Royals. The future's bright.
Right.
Let's just hope it doesn't take as long as
Take
it
as
did the
long.
last time. But,
So who's your favorite player? Do you guys have a favorite player?
Currently, my favorite player is probably Joe Kelly, just because he reminds me a lot of myself.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But-
Yeah, so can I.
But like all time, like Randy Johnson, Chipper Jones, got some guys along those lines.
Right.
Yeah.
If I have to pick current, and saying as big as a Royals fan that I am, Alex Gordon just went out, and to me, to my family, Alex Gordon, he was all of our favorites. My brother, my dad, and myself at least. Not because of the numbers he put up, but just the way that he played the game. And Royals being a small market team, the reason he's one of our favorite players is because the Royals have been really bad the past 3 years. And this guy's 27 games out of a playoff spot, losing 9-3 in the 8th inning, and he's still running into walls. I mean, as a baseball coach, that's why I love Alex Gordon. He's meant a lot to the city as well. But all time, he's still playing. When I was a kid, I based my swing off of Albert Pujols. And I just, something about Albert Pujols is he's one of my all-time favorites.
There you go.
There's guys like George Brett out there as well. So being a Royals fan, you can
Right. Yeah, I guess not. World Series. I know it's 3-2 Dodgers, but who do you got?
Rays in 7.
Rays in 7.
Rays in 7?
Rays in 7.
I think the Dodgers are too good to let this one slip, especially with the one-game lead right now. I'm hoping the Rays can do it, pull it off. I just think the Dodgers are too good. I'll go Dodgers in 7.
Okay. MLB The Show. You guys play? Any good?
So when I was in JUCO, I'm sure you guys have the same thing. Probably we had an MLB The Show league. So I could say back then I was like a top 5 or 6 player in the world, probably.
In the world?
Yeah. So, but right now I don't play that much. I really don't. I leave it up to the kids. They talk crap to me all the time, but it's like riding a bike. I feel like one warm-up game, I'm practicing.
Right back in it.
Yeah.
I hear you.
So I think I'm good until you play somebody that's actually good, and then you get your butt hooked. So,
Right.
it is fun to sit down and play every now and then, but yeah, video games aren't my thing. Haven't really been my thing until I got to college. Like you just said, you sit around with your roommates and your teammates, and that's kind of what you do on
Right.
that. So stay out of trouble playing video games is one way to do it. But we played NHL more than played MLB.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
I think when you get to college, you do baseball. You go to class, and then the rest of your time is baseball. So we were playing more Madden and NHL and getting away from baseball for a little bit, keeping my mind off things. So, no, not very good at MLB, but I enjoy it every now and then.
Well, I can tell both of you right now, just this conversation, and I made the comment earlier, I think both of you are up-and-coming coaches in this area. I even feel that even more now. Just hearing you guys say that you do it to make them better people, and that's what coaching really is all about. Don't ever lose that, because that is really the point. That really is. Your job is to make them better young men. And right now with your ages, you can relate to the kids a lot better, and they all want to be you. They want to be who you were when you played college ball. They all want that. So I appreciate that from both of you. I really do. Thanks a lot. And I appreciate you guys coming to the show and stepping in for Reed today. Thanks a lot. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for
All
having
right.
us, man.
And that will conclude today's This Week in Baseball player profiles. We should have Reed listed from Derby High School in the O Show on the show later this week. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That was awesome. You guys did good. I will edit it.
Yeah.
I'm literally so